That's where we were doing a little introduction. Welcome everyone to the webinar once again. And that's me, Suresh Konduru, and with about 25 years of experience or so in the corporate industry, worked with large, medium, small organizations, have been part of several agile transformations. Many of them have succeeded, some of them failed because I'm learning like all of you are. We all do learn every day, right? So as part of my learning job, me and my team have experimented, failed, and learned much faster than others. And we realize that learning is something that can be possible through failure. Failure is not bad at all, right? And that blue colored box you see out here, this is my book that was published a couple of weeks back, the Agile 51 Success Factors. And this can be very, very useful resource to all of you. And this gives you a real-time implementation checklist, real-time implementation guidance. It's like a handbook. For example, you are a Scrum Master. What are the 51 things you should be doing? Like a checklist for a Scrum Master. What are the 51 different things that product owners must be doing? What are the 51 metrics you will be tracking, right? What are the 51 facilitation techniques that you can use in your sprint retrospectives? So no matter whether you're a Scrum Master or an Agile coach or a product owner or a manager or a CEO or a developer or whatever capacity you are, this book will be a handy book for you. And I've been a certified Scrum trainer with Scrum Alliance for the last 6 years and trained more than 15,000 students. That's a little credentials about me. And very, very glad to welcome all of you here. And this is what we do as Premier Agile today. And you recognize those four logos: Scrum Alliance Certified Scrum Master, Scrum Alliance Certified Scrum Product Owner, Scrum Alliance Advanced CSM, and Advanced CSPO. So we are pretty much on the Scrum Alliance portfolio till now, and we are now diversifying into different areas. For your continuous learning, we're now moving into different new areas and launching certain new courses for your learning. The Scrum Alliance Certified Agile Scaling Practitioner, Level 1, and also Certified Agile Facilitation. These are another two Scrum Alliance courses. CASP1 was launched already, and CAF is going to be launched in a couple of weeks. And interestingly, I'm sure some of you will be looking forward for this, which we have been talking about a few classes already. Jira. The Atlassian Jira has been one of the most used tools today for the Agile project management. As per a recent survey conducted, nearly 70% of the Agile teams use Jira. And we are going to offer some learning on Jira. This link is already there on the website. And I request Anusha to kindly provide us the link in case anyone would like to read more about it. So there are two levels of Jira courses that we are launching. Getting started, basic Jira, about a couple of hours, which is not going to cost much. It's a couple of hundreds. So there is a lot to learn from a practitioner here. And then mastering Jira, where we will help you doing a case study practice on Jira. And the two courses are already launched, and you can check out our website with which Anusha is going to provide us the link. Now, this is of interest, the AI ACF and the AI ACT. So the AI Agile Coaching Foundations, as well as the AI Agile Certified Trainer. So you can also become a trainer. So the last green color logo is about a trainer logo, right? And these two courses are available for all the people who are joining the Regional Scrum Gathering Hyderabad. So if you're joining in person to the Hyderabad conference, these two courses are available to take them in person from the creator of the courses themselves. We are not the creator, we are only facilitating the courses to be available. So these courses are from Boostaro, an organization who is an innovator, who is the pioneer in the AI Agile area already, right? So they are going to help you with enabling these two courses. Even if you are a basic, experience in Agile or Scrum, my suggestion is go for this ACF. But if you're already a trainer or a coach, then you go for this. But for those who are not able to join Hyderabad in person, the conference, this course will be available online from December, and I will be the trainer for this. So the schedule is going to be set up on the website, right? So that's in brief about where we are venturing into to help you with your continuous learning. Let us get started with the topics, what we are here for today. Why are we here today? We are here to understand quickly about what are some of those challenges we are facing on the ground in terms of implementation of agile projects and any other scaling, which is where we are going to the next level, not just doing Scrum, but also scaling Scrum. We're trying to figure out what those are. So, of course, we will try to maintain our focus and our commitment and our time boxing towards the session. So, whenever you have a question, please make sure you ask. You can just raise a hand and ask the question, or even without raising a hand, it's okay. Just go ahead and put the question on the chat or just say it. Okay, so this is something that I keep talking about in the regular classes. There is this whole waterfall way of working. Can anyone unmute and tell me what is a waterfall model? If anyone remembers it.
Top-down approach.
Thank you. It's a top-down approach.
It's just a sequential execution of the project.
A sequential execution where we are doing something after something and then again something else. Right. So
Yeah.
thank you. It's a very, very big bang planned model wherein you are planning upfront and then you are building the system and then you are testing it and then delivering it. Right. So that's a very waterfall or a traditional model. So this was a very, very successful model. Yes, once upon a time, but the success rate has reduced over the years. So last time, if you remember in the classes, I was probably saying somewhere around 15% or so, and this keeps on diminishing. This was the report as per 2020, and it was only 13%. While it was very successful, we wanted something better, something new. That is, there is this whole agile manifesto that came into picture, right? Now that's where people started doing more of Scrum, trying to become more of Agile, so on and so forth, right? Okay. So that's where Agile Manifesto came into picture, where we said, oh, well, we are going to value individuals and interactions more than processes and tools. We are going to value working product more than comprehensive documentation, etc., etc. Right. Yes, people move to more of an agile way of working, but agile projects also are not that successful. This is interesting. You see, there is about 3 times more the rate of success, but still not that much. They are still challenged 47% of the times, and projects also fail 11% of the times. By the way, what is success? How do you measure success?
100% result.
Say it, please.
100% result, expected result of 100%.
100% result. Yeah, what kind of result you are expecting?
There is no change in schedule, no impact on resources, and all like things going as planned.
Sprint completion.
Yeah, true. Completing the sprints on time, completing the overall project schedule on time, delivering the product as per the expected timelines and quality. Customer is happy, team is happy. There are a lot of factors by which you can measure success. So it was realized that yes, we do Scrum to become more and more agile, but that's not successful either completely. So there is still a lot more things that we can do. So let's ask this question, all of you. I request you to kindly type in on the chat at least a couple of lines. Why do projects fail? When we do projects, why are they failing? Please go ahead, type your reason on the chat. Maybe your own experience, or you heard from your friend or family. Why do projects fail? Some reasons out there, and maybe more. Last and final call. Why do projects fail? Let's read. The problem of scaling. Okay, scope creep. Non-availability of the resources. Yeah, can be people, can be infrastructure, can be anything. Yes, insufficient training, poor planning, wrong estimation, zero communication. Oh my God. And feedback. Okay. Miscommunication, adapting to incorrect procedures. Lack of clarity, lack of communication. I think communication seems to be the key. Time to market, improper estimation, sprint velocity, immature team. Interesting. Miscommunication. Thank you. Thank you. So there's a lot of reasons why do projects fail. And the main reason that I have seen is communication aspect. And communication between whom? Communication between leaders, communication between leaders and teams, communication between departments, communication within the Scrum team. Right. Okay, so this is interesting. So let us check. So on this exact topic, and there are other related topics, there is a survey that was done. Now, this survey is called as a 17th State of Agile Survey. So it happens every year. This year, the 18th State of Agile Survey is in progress. So these results are from last year's survey, which was conducted last year and then published. Every year, this goes on for about 3 to 4 months, and towards the end of the year, they publish the results. Right? What does it say? The respondents of the survey say 50% of their leaders are not even aligned. And the executive, which is like CEO, CIO, CFO level leaders, they don't even sponsor this change, meaning they're not even ready for this change. This could be one major reason. And 29% of the respondents of the survey said the business teams are not aligned. Everyone has a goal, but there are different goals, they're not aligned. You see, alignment is not there. And of course, the teams today are 91% is distributed. But I'm still surprised why the 9% are still not distributed. Of course, that's my surprise. Because today everyone is working in a distributed scenario. Teams are pretty much across the globe. But out of the 91% distributed teams, like what our friend Shivangi said, yeah, 81% of the teams are working with proper training, coaching, lot of support, right? And then 22% of the people say we are still working in silos, which means still alignment is missing. Right? Now, these are proper numbers. These are like real survey results from people like you and me. The respondents are Scrum Masters, Agile coaches, product owners, managers, etc., etc. That level of people. Right? So, which means these are real stats. Now, what do we do? How do we help to solve this problem? Now, this is where we need to have some scaling aspects. Now, what is scaling? Scaling means what? So let us check out quickly. What is scaling? Add more teams. Now, so you have one team which is very successful, right? For example, this team is doing Scrum. By the way, the same survey says very interesting thing. More than 60% of the teams use Scrum on the ground. And Scrum still stands to be the most widely used framework in Agile teams, right? So one team is successful, great. Two teams are successful, awesome. Three teams successful, great. But what if you add 20 teams? How can you scale them up, right? So this is one aspect of scaling. And then again, scaling is also about creating alignment amongst the leaders. Alignment amongst departments, which means one team is here and another team is working in a different department, and then these two must talk to each other. There should be a lot of alignment across the departments, right? And scaling is also about scaling not just number of people, but also adding complexity in the product. So you're building a small product for a small organization versus an enterprise level product for a big organization. The complexity is much, 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 much higher. So Scrum may not be helpful there, right? That is adding product complexity. Then usage of enterprise level tools. Yeah, of course, one team can just use simply Excel spreadsheet. But you have 20 teams working towards one common goal. Obviously, there can be more need for using some enterprise-wide tools, right? And also you need to visualize your workflow. How is this whole transaction flowing through different systems? And of course, their speed and quality of development is needed. And how do you sustainably deliver on a continuous basis? And ultimately, how do you satisfy your customers? Now, I request all of you again, kindly think for a moment and tell me, in your view, what is scaling? Now, how will you tell me? Just a second. So there is an option called annotate. If you're on your Zoom, when you hover the mouse on your video, there is an option for annotate. You see that? And when you do that, and you click that annotate, there is a tick mark, at least on my screen. And then finally, I will be able to click a tick mark like this. You see a green tick mark here? Or you can use a heart shape. Anything is okay. You see this? All of you, check if you can annotate and tell me, in your view, which one is scaling here. Okay, I request all of you, go ahead, try. We'll wait for you. You can annotate the screen that I'm sharing right now. There you go. There is a big tick mark, like a red. But you can use the symbols, which is a lot easier. Okay, go ahead, go ahead. We'll take 2-3 minutes. So in your view, which of these aspects is called scaling? If you think more than one, put tick marks or heart shapes or no, whatever it is on more than one boxes. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of annotation, which is great. So we'll wait for 1 more minute. Okay, so I hope all of you are able to attempt this at least. So let us check. We got tick marks across all of them almost, except visualization of workflow. So if you ask me, all of this is scaling. Scaling is not just adding number of people. Scaling is about all of them. When you add 20 teams, say when there are 3 teams that are doing Scrum very well, when you add 20 teams, it doesn't mean that they will do this very well, right? There will still be a lot of other alignment and visualization of workflow that needs to be created. And that's where there are certain missing elements. So what did the industry do? The industry started creating some frameworks. These are called scaling frameworks. So let us quickly look at what are some of those scaling frameworks that were created. I've cleared all the annotation. Let's move on. So in order to overcome these challenges, this is where there is a scaled agile framework that was created. This is called SAFE, Scaled Agile Framework. Is this the only scaled framework? Not really. There is something called Scrum at Scale. And there is LESS, called Large Enterprise Scaled Scrum. This I'm sure all of us will understand. Spotify as a company was struggling few years back, and then they started becoming more and more agile. They have figured out how can we bring on an organizational change, and they tried something on their own, and that practices that they have tried has now emerged as a scaling framework called Spotify model. So, and there are many more, by the way. So let's look at those names. Here we go. Some more results. So you see, Scaled Agile Framework, or SAFE, is used by about 26% of the organizations today as per the survey results. And Scrum at Scale is used by 19%, and you see some of the other ones. So Disciplined Agile Delivery, DAD is actually called as, it's 3%, which is consistent for the last few years. Spotify model is used by about 2% of the teams across the world today. So you see, there are a lot of scaling models, but we still see project failures. Project failures are still happening, no doubt about that. So something is missing. So what is missing? Let's check. So what am I doing now? I'm going to share the screen with the chart that I normally draw. So let's look at this. Okay, so here, I hope all of you are able to see the screen. So we have a Scrum Team 1, a Scrum Team 2, Scrum Team 3, and so on. So there are so many Scrum teams like that, right? And they are building a highly complex project or a product, and they all are working towards one common product vision, let's say, right? So obviously there need to be a lot of coordination amongst them, and hence they are figuring out how do I actually do it, right? So this is where they came up with the frameworks that we were seeing earlier, SAFE, or Large Enterprise Scaled Scrum, or Scrum at the Rate Scale, or disciplined agile delivery or Spotify, etc., etc. There are many others. So, right. So the beauty is all of these frameworks are built on Scrum. So the foundation is same for all of them, and which you all would have learned, right? Already you have learned in your CSM, CSPO, or other classes. So the foundation is this. And now you are scaling up using one of the scaling models, which is great. Now, what is missing here is what we are trying to figure out. So there are certain aspects that you need to probably start building certain foundations on. Scrum is something that you have already built a foundation on. There are certain other leadership practices, certain communication practices that also needs to be built. And that's what we are trying to figure out in this webinar. What is that missing piece? So let's get back to this. What is missing? Obviously, the alignment. Teams, businesses, business users, your organizational leaders, the teams on the ground, they all should be aligned properly. So there must be some robust communication. And I'm not surprised when all of you answered one reason for project failure is communication. So how do people communicate? How do they create the alignment? Right. And what is a flow? Flow meaning, how are you creating value? For example, there is an airlines company. There is a customer inquiring for booking a ticket. And from that inquiry all the way till the end, where the ticket is booked, the company makes some money, right? So inquiry to cash is a big flow. And one needs to understand that flow end to end so that your communication bottlenecks are minimized from a business standpoint, from a functional standpoint. So you need to understand the flow properly, right? And you need to visualize it because we are dealing with large systems. You need to have a clear visualization picture in terms of who are the actors, what are the connectors, what are the dependencies, where are we stuck, who is responsible for what. So you need to have a very clear visualization about the work that we are going to do, right? And you need to have very clear success indicators. How do you measure? What is success for you? Who are the various people that are needed to give you success? Is there an agile coach who is needed? What is the role of an agile coach? Who is a product manager or a owner there? The same Scrum definition of product owner may not be valid anymore because you need to scale up, right? So yeah, we learned who is a product owner, etc., etc., etc. But is it the same who applies as a product owner in a scaling context as well? Maybe no. So you'll have to figure out how do you measure and who are you going to work with, right? So this is very, very interesting. Scaling over scaled. Spotify model was very successful with Spotify as an organization. But a lot of organizations, when they started copying the Spotify model, failed. Why? Because Spotify, the way it engineered the model is altogether different. And the way people said, this is like a blueprint for us, let us copy it and emulate the success of Spotify, it doesn't work. So you have to have your organization's culture in your mind while you build any model like that. So any existing model scaled, which means something that has already worked in a different context, may not work for you in your context. So you need to figure out how do I continue to scale rather than taking up something existing. Now, this is a key in your scaling concepts. Should I borrow something existing? Should I build something or borrow something existing, but also continue to learn? Maybe that could be a better choice. Scaffolds. Can anyone tell me what is a scaffold? Just a general English.
During construction, they use that to go to heights.
That's right. During construction, when you construct 5 floors, 10 floors of a building, you construct temporary structures. That's
Platform kind of structure.
it's a platform where you can climb up, do your work. It's a temporary structure. It will not be there permanently, right? So in scaling, scaffolds is a very, very important concept where you take the help and support of a temporary structure, you build, you make the building, and then you remove the temporary structure. Likewise, in scaling, you need to have certain scaffolds, but they're not permanent. They're only temporary. So what are the scaffolds in my product when I build it? In an organization of say 1,000 people, 2,000 people, and in my department of 500 people, what are the temporary scaffolds that are needed? So you'll have to identify that. Systems thinking. This is very, very important for Scrum Masters and Agile coaches. Yes, till now we are thinking about one team, two teams, three teams. But I should start thinking more of an organizational view, which is called as an end-to-end systems thinking. If something else happened in my team, let's say a team member is not performing, what could be the reason? How can I link this with something else happening elsewhere? Say HR policy has gone wrong, or our infrastructure policy has changed last week because of which my team was impacted, right? So there can be many reasons. Systems thinking is the ability of a person to think of everything as a system, as an end-to-end transaction, not just a siloed activity. That is systems thinking. This is something that Scrum Masters and coaches should build. So I'm listing some of the things here, wherein which will help you to be successful in your scaling journey. Another thing is identification of patterns. Nowadays, this is actually taking a lot of importance. A lot of people are now moving away from existing frameworks and they're moving into patterns. What's a pattern? A pattern is an observed phenomena, something that can be repeated and then you see if a result can be possible in a similar context. So identification of patterns, identification of anti-patterns, building your pattern libraries, attributes, etc., etc. There is a lot of work that is happening in the patterns world today. And if you see, there's a lot of work being published on websites as well. In fact, Scrum, if you look at Scrum as a framework today, is actually a list of patterns a few years back. And it gradually became a framework today. So it's very important for you to identify patterns. Now, these are some of the things which are missing in the current scaled frameworks. Now, this is where Scrum Alliance has found that this is a gap in the current frameworks. And that's where recently, I just want to let you know a little extra information here that they have come up with something like this. The Scrum Alliance has come up with Certified Agile Scaling Practitioner 1. Maybe there is 2, I don't know, but at least as of now, there is only 1. CASP1 is a course that was launched by Scrum Alliance a few months ago. And what really is taught there? You're not going to learn about scaled practices. No, you're going to learn about the missing pieces. Some of the missing pieces which I have highlighted here is what one is going to learn if at all you are able to join this course, right? The missing piece is addressed by Scrum Alliance in this course. Okay, just a little bit about the benefits of the CASP1 is, of course, career growth, industry recognition is always there with all Scrum Alliance courses. You acquire certain scaling skills, the missing pieces, and Scrum Alliance also, and a lot of scaling. The practices help you achieve that project success. Any complexity issues at your organization level, you'll be able to handle. And these are like normal Scrum Alliance membership that you will have. Additional resources are always there on the Scrum Alliance website. If you're already a Scrum Alliance member doing their CSM, CSPO, I hope you're all able to get the advantage of those additional resources. If you have done your courses through Premier Agile, hopefully you're able to gain some advantage through our resources also. So you can gain both Scrum Alliance and Premier Agile resources. Right. Okay, now this is something I would like to share. So if at all you are able to join CASP1 sometime in whenever you can, this is how our agenda is going to be, right? So we'll talk a lot about business agility scaled versus scaling versus descaling. So descaling is one more very interesting phenomena that you will learn as part of your foundations. And there are different types of product domains. Chaotic domain is one of them. What is the risk with that? What are the preconditions? What are the logistics, patterns, anti-patterns? So there's a lot of that missing piece that is covered as part of this course, right? And then finally, there is something called ABCD, which is not found in any other course right now. And this is something me and one of my other coach friends, we have come up with this model called ABCD. Is a organizational change management framework, which we have submitted to Scrum Alliance, and we got their approval to teach that model to all of you. So we are going to teach the ABCD model on how you take organization through those changes. Now, this is not there in other, you will not find this in other courses. Other courses meaning, even if this course is taught by someone else, they are not aware of what ABCD is. So this is something I'm proudly able to represent here, that you will learn something new. I mean, altogether a new model which we tried on different banks and other financial institutions, right? Okay, so this is a quick look at the agenda. Let's check something on the chat going on. Sunita, thank you. Okay, so that's it on the agenda part. So let me pause here to see if anyone has any questions on scaling, or in general about the course, or in general any other scaling aspects that you are finding in your organizations.
Hey, hi Suresh. I just joined late, so just I have one question. Like, what is scaling, and descaling?
Okay.
Sorry.
So, okay, no problem. No, we didn't go into that depth on that topic, but I'll a little bit elaborate. So scaled is something which worked in different organizations. You borrow the same framework, same practices. I hope you heard the Spotify example I was talking about. So you
Yes.
borrow those practices, you apply the practices as it is. That is scaled. Scaling is something you try to implement in your organization depending on your context, and you're open for feedback, and you're open to learn, and you customize those practices for your need, right? For example, SAFe is more of a scaled framework wherein you are applying the practices as it is. Now, descaling is an aspect where you need to think about, how can I achieve the same goal with the help of certain descaling? I mean, I don't need to add people all the time. I don't need to increase my product complexity all the time. So how else can I solve my customer's problem? Is a descaling aspect. So three different aspects. Yes.
Thanks, Suresh.
Thank you. Okay, let us check. Who is responsible for scaling at an organization level? Asks Sunita. So there is no one single person who will be responsible at an organization level. If you have one team, you need to make your 2 teams successful, 5 teams successful, etc. Then obviously that will be the role of the coach, the Scrum Master, or the Agile coach, right? But if you look at an organization level overall, if you ask me, I will say the CEO, because he or she is the only one person at the top, right? So you cannot attribute this whole success to one person. This should be a collective team's effort. But if you're saying at a department level, oh, well, I have my 10,000 people in the company, there are like 5 different departments, each department having that 1 to 3,000 people. Then at a department level, I will attribute to the leader of the department. So it's very important that these departments are pretty much aligned with each other, and they talk to each other, they plug in the communication gaps and so on. Okay, let's check. Swapna asks, is there any exam at the end of the CASP1 course? This is normally a secret, which I will tell you only when you join the course. But I'm telling this only to Swapna, okay? Others, please don't listen to me. Swapna, there is no exam. So there is no exam right now. The Scrum Alliance has this different school of thought. As long as you complete your learning with full focus, full case studies, do a lot of practice, identify challenges, address them, create something in the class itself. Like when you join CSPO, like we do, right? Like we do a lot of case studies, full 2 days case studies, 100% practice, zero PowerPoint. That is how we do, right? As long as you learn like that, exam is only a cakewalk, right? But at Premier Agile, a lot of people are asking, why don't you conduct an exam? So we are still thinking about it. We might still do a small exam, but at this moment, as far as Scrum Alliance is concerned, there is no exam. I'm doing one course for the Singapore, one of the universities in Singapore, the CASP one only, the September itself. The university said, boss, please conduct an exam. So we are actually designing an exam for the Singapore University. Scrum Alliance did not mandate, but the university mandated. So we will conduct an exam for them. So like that. So depends. But for you, Swapna and others in this group, right now there is no exam by Scrum Alliance for this course. Okay, so quickly move on. So if anyone is currently interested, or maybe sometime for we have one class coming up in September, of course. In case anyone who is interested, especially we would like to really appreciate you joining this webinar, and my sales team is glad enough to offer you a discount. So if you are able to, or if you want to register, we have opened up a special coupon code on our website. So Anusha, please go ahead and share the details. So Anusha is going to share the link on how you can register with a coupon code. And that code is valid only till today, because we don't want to just open up for everyone like that. So it is going to be valid, and it is going to give you a 31% discount. And Anusha is going to give us the link now. I guess we have one schedule coming up in September 23rd. Yeah. 23rd, 24th, 25, 3 days. So it's going to be during the evenings, India time, which is about 6:30 p.m. 18:30 hours is what I wanted to just write here. It's a 3-day option, 3-day course. Okay, so all you need to do is just click on that and use this code, scaling 31. Nisar was mentioning earlier, links are not working. So Anusha, please check which link was not working, because I clicked on the links, Nisar, they are working for me. Okay, so from my side, I'm done. And if anyone has any questions, we can discuss. Anyone has any questions on your Scrum, Agile implementation or scaling or anything of that sort, anything on the course, anything on the conference we are doing, etc., etc. Let's see, there is a question by Sunita. When someone says, I am safe agilist, they may not be able to contribute to safe at organization level directly, as they don't have system thinking end-to-end level with different departments and different. So just wanted to understand the benefit of being safe agilist. Okay. So Sunita, they may not be able to contribute to SAFe as they don't have system thinking. No, I'll not make that comment. Okay, they don't have system thinking, they don't have end-to-end level with different departments and different teams. So I mean, I don't know about them, right? So we cannot make any comments about them. But what is the benefit of being safe agilist? Number one benefit is someone is certified. So your recruiter is asking for it. So they're getting an interview call. If you ask me, that is the starting benefit. But then as long as your certification is not helping your organization or your customer, in my view, it is totally useless. Right. So certification is one thing, but getting the basics right, being able to implement, talk about some data, case studies, some of these things will be adding more value to your career, anyone for that matter, right? You should be able to talk about real data and then real examples. Otherwise, certification will be only a bookish pursuit, right? So where you will learn hard, go through a lot of materials, and then give the exam and you are certified. But SAFe is a very, very popular framework. So being safe agilist will probably get you a better job for sure. That is a big benefit. And a lot of customers are asking for SAFe today. So maybe the recruiters are also asking for it. So that way you are benefited as an individual. But you should also, along with being certified, you should also be very strong with your basics. That's what I suggest.
I have one more question, Suresh. So I got like to know that like there is another certification called CAL, Certified Agile Leadership, and this is a scaling certificate. So is there anything like we need to proceed first leadership then scaling, or it's scaling first then leadership? What's your view on that?
No, so Scrum Alliance projects these courses as skill-based courses. See, Scrum Master, Product Owner, CSM, CSPO are all role-based. And then there is a skill-based, meaning leadership is a skill. Leadership is not only for CEOs. Leadership can be for a bare minimum person in the team also. And it can be for a manager also, right? So leadership is a skill. Facilitation is a skill. Scaling is a skill. So these are all skill-based. So role-based. So both are valuable in their own ways. So a leader can do CAL, Certified Agile Leader. A leader can also become a great facilitator because leader has to connect teams and get to a consensus, right? So a lot of leaders do CAF, CAL, CASP1. So anyone can do anything depending on what is the need on the ground. What is your need? Depending on that, you can do anything. Doesn't matter. CAL is not just for organizational senior CEO executive leadership. It can be done by anyone. I've seen managers, scrum masters, agile coaches also do CAL.
And for that also no exam, right? For CAL also it's
No. Other than CSM, there is no
no.
exam of the
Okay.
Scrum Alliance courses today. Okay, so I will stop the screen share.